So, it's update time for the London Spitfire, as we've had two announcements yesterday regarding their DPS line for 2021, and they have been expected. This is one that one was predicted, and one was as expected as a promotion from British Hurricane, so you can probably guess who that is. So, let's start off with the one that is outside of the Cloud9 ecosystem, outside of British Hurricane or London Spitfire. And with this one is one that I predicted actually a long while back. So I thought that this might happen for a good month and a half, and there's been a lot of indications to say it might happen. I mentioned this in the last few videos that we've done on London Spitfire. This is Dominic Grove. This is Hybrid. Hybrid is a British hitscan player. He was playing for Team Doge. Before that, he was playing for Disaster. He's also had time at Nuriki Esports. So he comes into the London Spitfire as their hitscan player, and the only hitscan player that will be available for the Spitfire, I would say, at the start of the season. Because the other hitscan player, which is the other one we're going to be talking about in this video, is Sparker, who has been indeed promoted to the London Spitfire, even though he is not old enough to play at the start of the season. So, Hybrid will be the starting hitscan player for the London Spitfire most likely in 2021, until Sparker comes of age. Now, Sparker comes of age on June the 10th, so it's going to be a little bit into the season before we see Sparker come in for the Spitfire. Sparker has been a great player for the British Hurricane during the past year or so of contenders, and he has made quite the splash in the EU, and it's no surprise to see this guy being moved up. Again, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't keep him as a two-way player so he could play in the first season of contenders for Hurricane. Obviously, they want a clean slate for Hurricane. The Hurricane did put out a Twitter post looking for tryouts for the Hurricane, including coaches and players, which I think is an incredibly interesting move. So the Hurricane are going for a clean slate. This means Sparker comes up to the Spitfire. Now, it will very much depend on how Hybrid plays in this first part of the Overwatch League season while Sparker is ineligible. You would expect Sparker to be the number one hitscan player for the London Spitfire, but one thing that Hybrid does have is quite a nasty echo and things like that, which will be very powerful in this meta, whereas Sparker is more of a straight Widow Ash Tracer sort of player. The Hybrid has a bit more of an interesting pick in his back pocket, which is the Echo, which I think could be incredibly powerful. So it will be very interesting to see how they make these two work. Now, Hybrid being British, he's going to be probably someone that the Spitfire want to make a bit of a figurehead of their team because of him being on brand, and the reason that London have changed their whole philosophy, wanting to be this staple of European talent, and now want to be like this beacon of Europe. And Nuki kind of worded it that way when she took over as GM, and so I think it's going to be very interesting to see where they go with this. Is this the end of the Spitfire incomers though? I don't think so. Now, we have Sparker and Hybrid now. We are probably not going to get any more promoted from the Hurricane, because Danad was let go. So I'm not expecting any more promoted from the Hurricane. However, London Spitfire's roster right now looks like this. So it's Blase, Ripper, Kellex, Hattie, Molfig, Hybrid, and you have Sparker ineligible. This means at the start of the season, Sparker's still going to be ineligible, which means London will be fielding a 6-man roster, which doesn't meet league regulations. So this makes me think that maybe there is another player to come for the Spitfire yet. And in that case, who might that player be? At this point, it would be very difficult to tell. Very, very difficult to tell. Could the Spitfire... I honestly don't think we're going to see another tank. I'd be very, very, very surprised to see another tank. So what this would make me think, if you saw anything, it would be another support player, because I don't think they'll add another DPS player. Who would they add in support? Well, there is a British support that is looking for a team. His name is Boombox. Extensive league experience. And maybe he would be a pick. The thing that kind of doesn't make me think that's going to happen is because they have Kellex and Ripper. And both of those have Overwatch League experience. Kellex quite extensive Overwatch League experience. So I don't think they necessarily need Boombox for experience. Would they play Boombox straight out instead of Ripper? I don't think so. I don't think so, unless it was a heavily Zen meta, which in all fairness it is right now. But I don't think that's going to happen. So it is difficult. I heard some people rumour McGravy, and I'm not sure. I really don't think the Spitfire are going to disrupt this Mulfig Haddy tank line that they brought in from the British Hurricane. I don't see a reason to disturb it, so I don't know why they would sign McGravy. I really don't know why they would do that. I would love to see them bring in someone really interesting, someone different. I'd like to see Boombox, but I don't think it's going to be Boombox. Now, Nuki did say that there was an extensive British talent in tryouts, so there is another support player. I believe his name is Chalky Milk. There's people along those lines that could be options, but I'm not sure whether they're league ready. So it makes it very hard to try and speculate on who might be that extra player. Now, the Spitfire may have found a way around the rules, but somehow I doubt it. I think we're going to see more Spitfire players, and I'm just very interested to see who these might be. We speculated in the early days that it might be someone like Fusions. That's not going to happen now. He's contracted to the Boston Uprising. Could it be Cruz, ex-Paris Eternal, ex-Toronto Defiant? It's possible it could be Cruz. Again, not sure. Not sure. It's very difficult to tell. Could it be Smex, the off-tank that never got the chance at the Paris Eternal because of his extensive health problems? That's another option. I would like to see Smex get another chance at the league. But again, it does go back to that whole thing of it would be disrupting the tank line of the Hurricane that has come up to the Spitfire. Chalky Milk, I mentioned, he's currently at Kratos in North America. He's a support player. He's a main support player. We could see that. We could see that. Considering the main support is Kelix, and Kelix is the more older head and the more experienced head, could you bring in Chalky Milk as that more inexperienced head that could come in at times and be another British player? Again, it's possible. Chalky Milk used to be at the Clockwork Vendetta, which used to be a big team in Europe. Made a lot of waves. You may have heard of their name. So there's other options there, but I'm not really sure whether where the Spitfire are going to go down with all this. To be quite honest, it's very difficult to tell. I mean, it's not going to be Chipsa. Before any of you say it, it's not going to be Chipsa. Chipsa's going to be a streamer. He's done his season in the league and he's now going to be a streamer again, I'm sure. I really don't think it's going to be Chipsa. But there are some British talent out there. There is some British talent out there, I should say, like White Noise, who's a tank from Exoblivione. Hayes, the coach, I'd love to see him come back as well. But you've got, obviously, as I said, Chalky Milk at Kratos. You've got Cameron, the tank player at Maryville Esports. You've got Abs, the support player at Shrewsbury Crew EU, a 10 at Avoided. There's options out there if they want to pick up a little bit more British talent. And I'll be very interested to see if the Spitfire have done this. So, we go back to our original point though. Sparker and Hybrid have joined the London Spitfire. I still think we will see an extra signing or two. We may see a flex DPS. Because of Blaze's, how can we be kind about Blaze? His unpredictability? Blaze, in my opinion, is a very sink or swim signing. And he's not going to have the, perhaps, reliability that Danid would have brought. So, in that case, who else could it be? Could it be, by some chance, be Lightbringer? Now, that would be very surprising, considering Lightbringer is 32 years old and currently avoided. So, I mean, that would make him the oldest player in the league, the oldest ever player in the league, and I don't think it'd ever be beaten. So, I wouldn't have thought it would be Lightbringer, but that would be a very interesting move. Again, there's other British talent like KSP, but KSP is not going to be leaving the Valiant, and now Spitfire have their hit scan talent. So there's a lot of rumors and stuff from people we can speculate. There's a lot of British hit scan talent, but there's not a massive amount of projectile talent anymore. So it does kind of make it different to try and fill that spot for the Spitfire if they want to go properly British. So that's kind of that's what I'll say. That's what I'll say about a lot of it right now. We will see what happens with the... I honestly think there'll be at least one, if not two more signings for the Spitfire. And I will keep up to date with it on this channel as always. And we are finally getting to the end of Spitfire's little saga here. I think this is possibly the setup we will see for the Spitfire, with Ripper, Calyx, Haddy, Mulfig and Hybrid starting the season. I'm just not sure whether Blase will start the season or whether they will get in another projectile DPS player or flex DPS player to perhaps back him up in case Blase does flop like he has done other times, even though he's performed very well in tryouts. Anyway, that is our look at the Spitfire for today. There may be another look coming up fairly soon, we will see, but I will be leaving it here for now. Obviously, there's the Discord and everything that you can join. It's all linked in the video description. But for now, thank you guys so much for this video. If you'd like to give a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.